Good morning, Ludlow High School, and let's get ready to rock and roll into this Friday, May 30th edition of the Lions Roar. I'm Samuel Ponce.
And I'm Daniel Pierce, bringing you all the latest, greatest news from around Ludlow High School.
Before we start the show, would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have a few announcements for you this week. Are you ready to show your spirit, skill, and energy? The cheerleading team will be holding tryouts for anyone interested beginning on Monday in the back gym. For more information, contact Miss Bernard.
Attention French Club, please stop by Madame Cook's room to pick up your end of season survey. Fill it in, then return it to Madame Cook before the end of the school year.
The last meeting for Best Buddies will be Monday, June 2nd. We will meet in C001 after school. Hope to see everyone there.
This week wraps up Mental Health Awareness Month. Throughout May, students and staff here at LHS held a number of events and initiatives to raise awareness for the serious topic and to break the stigma. The LHS Cares put together the following video where we will hear how some of our teachers have dealt with mental health challenges in the past. We hope you will watch the whole video and understand it is possible to overcome the difficulties you may be facing.
So my name is Kate Zianio, Mrs. Zianio here at Ludlow High School. And I could give you a million stories about all the ways that stress, worry, anxiety has impacted my life. I think it's important to start by saying that, and when I was growing up, certainly people had anxiety, but we didn't talk about it like we did now, and that was to our detriment. So I think it's a great thing that it's something we're all addressing. My anxieties are so much rooted in fear. And that is a regret that I have. So many of the decisions I've made and the worries I've had are because I'm afraid of what's going to happen next, or I'm afraid of what someone's going to think. So whether it's a level of confidence I did not have in myself when I was younger, it's because I was fearful of being judged. I think that all came to a head for me at two instances in my life. One, when I got divorced many years ago. I got both married and divorced very young, but I held off because I was so afraid of what people would think if I got divorced. And so as such, I went to therapy for the first time in my life in my 30s, and it's the best decision I ever made. And it helped me recognize that I was creating a world that hadn't existed, but it was all out of fear, all of worry about what people would say. So I went to therapy for about 10 years. And in the second period of time in my life where my anxiety probably got the better of me is when we were in the process of adopting. And so my daughter, who's now about to turn 6, we've had her for 6 years. We've had her for about 6 years, and in the process before we adopted her, it was scary. And so every time we applied for adoption or thought about adoption, this off the hook. I was constantly worried about what was going to happen and what was going to occur and who might judge us if our daughter was adopted, and what if she was judged when she was adopted. What is she going to grow up with? And so all of these fears and worries that I had, and here my daughter is 6 years old, and I have never been happier in my entire life. And I realized and I still worry and I still have fears, but all those things I was always afraid of, I realized it was fear that was keeping me from doing things, or fear that was leading me to feel things that were unfair to me and unfair to other people. So I cannot say enough is when you have those anxieties, when you have those fears, do your best to try to address them with somebody you trust, address them with a friend, a parent, or find a therapist. Lean on people when you need to lean on people. Don't be afraid to lean on your friends and your family, but also be confident that you probably also have the answer. But just don't let your life be led by fear.
Hello, I'm Miss Spaghetti, a special ed inclusion teacher at Ludlow High School. And I just wanted to share that when I was in school, ever since I was a little kid, I struggled with anxiety. I did not know what it was at the time, but I knew that I was different than other kids. I just wasn't sure what it was. When I got into late middle school and high school, I realized that a lot of my anxiety was because that I was gay, but I didn't realize or know what to do with it. Once I did realize, I thought that people would hate me and ostracize me or not accept me. And that was a pretty big struggle to go through alone. I did not have any role models that I could talk to or anybody that I could go to with this kind of a weight that was on my shoulders. So basically what happened is I kind of dealt with this on my own, which wasn't the best idea, because I feel like without talking to someone and trying to carry something that heavy on your own is just not a good idea. So I wanted to figure out what I could do to help myself. And what helped me at the time was writing poetry, reading books so I could immerse myself in other characters that had other problems. I started to exercise a lot. I was on the track team, and running really helped. That physical energy and getting that off of my chest was really helpful. Let's see, listening to music has always helped me a lot. And I like to take nice hot baths, and that really relaxes me. I try to do self-care whenever I feel anxious. I do still struggle with anxiety as an adult, but I've learned strategies to manage it, and I also have learned to open up and tell others about it. And I realize the more I'm open about it, the more I learn that other people have the same kind of struggles, and it feels good to know that I'm not the only one.
Hi, I'm Dr. Johnson. I've been teaching here for decades. I teach English and mainly focus on seniors, sometimes sophomores. And when I was probably about 14 or 15, I planned to kill myself. I had a whole plan. I knew exactly what I was going to do, when I was going to do it, how I was going to do it. And it's not that I had a bad family. It's not that I didn't have friends. I just felt absolutely, completely alone, and like people didn't understand me, didn't get me. And that's a feeling that I think a lot of people can kind of understand and relate with. The way I worked myself through it is I actually wrote a note to myself and hid it in my bedroom so that my mom wouldn't find it. And that note had a time frame on it. That's how serious I was about it. But what I really did to work through it is to think about the people in my life and how it would affect them, and how thinking about how it would affect them made me realize that I did have an effect on people and that people did care about me. And it really is the fact that I took that time to think and to really understand the community that I had built around myself, that helped me get through it. And I think that's a huge thing, is getting yourself involved in stuff, better understanding the people around you and the connections you make. After I wrote that note and hid it, I went on living for a while, and it just
one more day and then just one more day. And I found groups that I enjoyed being a part of. I found the theater, I found acting, and I found my future. And I think that is a huge thing. Just take that one more day, take that one more step. And just one more thing. If you find yourself in that same position, know that there are people out there who can help you, who want to help you, and find help. Find a friend, find somebody in this school, find the hotlines that are set up to help you out, because help is out there and you don't have to go through it alone.
Hi, I am Mrs. Callahan. I have worked at Ludlow High School. This will be my 5th year technically. I came back after a long hiatus. So I teach English inclusion classes at Ludlow High School, and I have struggled with mental health ever since I was in college. I discovered that I was struggling with it because I was having kind of intrusive thoughts and thoughts of anxiety, and how I helped myself was through getting therapy. But as I grew older, I started realizing that I had more difficulty with focus and attention, and that seemed to be causing a lot of my anxiety. And then my son was diagnosed with ADHD, and I started to realize that I had a lot of the same symptoms. So I realized that I also had ADHD, and I think a good message for everyone out there, if you're struggling with the same thing, or if you have anxiety or ADHD, is that you are smart, first of all. You're very smart. You have a creative brain, and your brain just sometimes doesn't fit the molds that you're put into in school. So finding outlets where you can use that brain is really good advice. And also realizing that there is a stigma around it, and some people don't always understand what ADHD is. It's not really an inability to focus on things. It is an inability to decide what is the most important thing to focus on. So we don't have trouble with attention. We have trouble focusing in on what is the best thing to pay attention to. So I think what has helped me with that, and with my more recent discovery that I struggle with this, is that I need to make lists for myself. I need to make sure that I prioritize and really think about prioritizing what is the best thing. And medication helps me, and therapy, and just talking to other people about it, because I think a lot more people struggle with these things than you actually think. So just realizing that you're not alone.
Hi, if you don't know me, I am Miss McGrath. I teach biology. I also teach environmental science. So I see everybody from grades 9 through 12, and I feel like no matter who you are, you probably do what I do. You try to fit all of your friends in, you probably try to fit all of your family in, and then when do you have time left over for yourself? I know that I do not schedule time for myself, and I get really stressed and I get anxious. So something I'm starting to do is I'm starting to schedule time for me before I schedule time for anything else. So that might look like watching my favorite show on TV. It might look like me just taking a walk. If it's a rainy day, I might just read a book. And I know some of you are like, oh, read a book. Maybe you have a favorite video game. Zelda fan, Mario fan. But that's what I do. So schedule time for yourself.
Hello everyone, my name is Miss Doney, and I teach psychology, sociology, and history, and I have struggled with mental health almost my whole life. I have anxiety, I get panic attacks, and that's something that I've had to kind of cope with my whole life. So some of the things that have really helped me is, therapy, medication, and also doing things while being anxious, as hard as that can be. And I actually even recently, over April break, I went to New York City for the first time, which is something that, I had to do while I was anxious, and that was a really huge thing for me. So I think talking about this stuff is really important because there is so much stigma around mental health. but it really is a common thing that people struggle. About 23% of people struggle with some sort of mental illness or mental health challenge, and it should be more normalized, because when people feel less alone and have support, then they're a lot safer, and we can lower suicide risk. So it's very important to talk about these things.
What do you do to help get over the anxiety?
Honestly, deep breathing helps a lot. Focusing on the breathing, and not just saying to myself, I'm safe, and I'm going to be okay, even if I'm not okay in that moment. Telling myself that I am in a safe place helps a lot.
Hi, I'm Kate Howard-Bender. I'm the assistant principal here at Ludlow High School, and I'm just coming to you to talk a little bit about mental health. We do want to definitely stop the stigma when it comes to mental health, and I wanted to share a little bit of my mental health struggle with you. I had suffered from depression for many years. I actually still have depression, but I'm able to take some meds and also talk to a counselor. And then when I'm feeling overwhelmed or upset, I reach out to my friends and my support networks. So if you're feeling upset or distracted or hurt, or like you want to hurt yourself, please make sure that you reach out to your resources in your community. We have so many here, right here in the building. You're worth it. Okay, so let's stop the stigma together.
We can talk it good, how you wish it would be all the time. 'Cause I've packed my bags in the middle of the night 1,000 times. I got up to say goodbye. I could be wrong, but I think that I'm for real this time.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the moment you have all been waiting for. Here with some important information from the counseling office is Faith Kerouac and Hayden Del Rosario Rodriguez with this week's Counseling Corner.
Hi guys, I'm Faith Kerouac. I'm Hayden Del Rosario Rodriguez. Welcome to this week's Counseling Corner. Attention juniors, are you ready to take the next steps forward to your future careers? Ludlow High School's School to Career Internship Program offers a unique opportunity to gain valuable on-site educational experience directly related to their career interests. Interested in exploring potential internships, opportunities, and enhancing your skills in a real-world setting, see Mrs. Lekarzik in the school counseling office. Attention all students, we are midway through 4th term, so please remember to review your grades on Aspen to ensure that you are on track for passing term 4. This is a busy time of the year, so please stay on top of your assignments.
Attention high school students interested in healthcare. Register for Bay State Springfield Educational Partnership to explore healthcare professions with mentorship from experts. New summer orientation dates are available. Summer orientation is on May 29th. Check the school counseling Google Classroom for links to register. All students should be checking their Naviance accounts on a regular basis for career exploration and more. There's so much valuable information for all students, whether you're headed directly into the workforce, the military, or college upon graduation.
Back to you, Daniel.
Thank you, Faith. Now, let's see what's on the lunch menu next week.
Dan, we actually don't have the lunch menu for June yet.
No way. I don't get to announce the lunch menu on my last episode hosting?
That's enough of your whining. We gotta pass it on over to Mason Moraes with this weekend's weather forecast.
Thank you so much, Sam. Let's see what we've got in store for this weekend. Today, expect a 40% chance of rain with a high of 74 and a low of 55. Tomorrow, expect a 90% chance of rain with a high of 63 and a low of 53. Lastly, on Sunday, it will be partly cloudy with a high of 64 and a low of 49. It looks to be another wet weekend, so dress accordingly. Now, on to my favorite member of the Lions Roar, Mason Michael Moraes, with this week's sports update. Hello again, and thank you so much, Mason. Now, let's get into this week's sports update. Last Friday, the baseball team beat Palmer once again, this time 8-6. The track teams also competed last Friday in the Western Mass Championship, the boys placing second and the girls placing ninth. Saturday, the softball team bats in 13 runs to overcome Belchertown's 9. And finally, on Tuesday, the boys and girls tennis teams competed in the state tournament, the boys losing 5-0 and the girls losing 3-2. Now, let's take a look at what's coming up this weekend. On Friday, the boys and girls track teams will head to Merrimack for states at 3 p.m. and again on Sunday at 2:30 p.m. Thanks for tuning in to this week's sports update. Now back to Sam and Dan to close out this week's outstanding show.
Well, that's going to do it for this week, folks. I'm Daniel Piers.
And I'm Samuel Ponce. Happy birthday, Mom, and we'll see you all next week.